I never thought I'd have to say this. I never thought we'd reach a point where something so basic needs to be spelled out, explained, even justified. But here we are. Men are not your slaves, not your workhorses, not your ATMs, not your emotional punching bags, not your resources to extract and discard. They are human beings, not tools. Yet look around. Look at what's happening. Look at how men are living, how much they're giving, how they're dying inside while pretending everything is fine. You're bleeding out, brother. Every single day, you're losing resources, money, time, energy, health. And the worst part, you don't even see it because you've been programmed to think this is normal, to think this is love, to think this is what a real man does. But here's the truth. You're being drained systematically, methodically, and the painful reality is that you're participating in your own destruction. Let's start with money. Your money. The money you wake up at 5 a.m. to earn. The money you sacrifice your dreams for. The money you stress about every single night. Where does it go? Really, where does it go? Not to your future, not to your security, not to your growth. It goes to her, to making her happy, to keeping her satisfied, to preventing her from leaving. That dinner you can't afford but pay for anyway because a real man pays. Those gifts you buy, not because you want to, but because you're scared of her reaction if you don't. That lifestyle you're funding, her nails, her hair, her clothes, her girls' nights, while you wear the same worn-out shoes and skip meals just to save money. You're working yourself to death to finance someone else's comfort while your own life slowly falls apart. I see it every day. Men working 2 jobs, even 3, destroying their bodies in construction, in factories, in offices, handing over their paycheck to a woman who spends it without a second thought about what it truly cost you to earn it. She wants a vacation, and you figure out how to pay for it. She wants a bigger house, and you take on more hours. She wants, and you give, until there's nothing left of you but an empty shell going through the motions. What's even more insidious is the way she frames it. We need this for our family. This is an investment in us. Don't you want me to be happy? And you fall for it every time because you've been conditioned since birth to believe your value as a man is measured by how much you provide. But here's the truth. When she says our family, she really means her comfort. When she says investment in us, she means her lifestyle. When she asks, don't you want me to be happy? She's really asking if you're willing to sacrifice your happiness for hers. And what do you get in return? What value does she bring that equals what you're sacrificing? Can you answer that question honestly without guilt? That's how deep the programming goes. You're not even allowed to question whether the trade is fair. But it's not. It never was. And it's not just money. It's your time. Your irreplaceable, never-coming-back time. How many hours do you spend texting her throughout the day, reassuring her, entertaining her, proving you're thinking about her? How many evenings do you spend doing what she wants instead of what you need? How many weekends disappear into her agenda, shopping, visiting her friends, doing things that drain you instead of restore you? You used to have hobbies. Remember those? You used to have dreams, projects, things you were building. Where are they now? Buried under constant demands for your attention. Why are you always on your phone? She asks when you're working on something important. Why don't you spend time with me? She complains when you try to focus on your goals. And gradually, to keep the peace, to avoid the fight, you give up piece after piece of yourself. Your friends begin to disappear because she doesn't like them, or because you're too drained from managing her emotions to maintain those relationships. Your interests fade because there's no time or energy left after meeting her needs, and your growth stagnates because every ounce of energy is spent keeping her happy instead of building yourself up. I remember a conversation with a client. A brilliant programmer had a startup idea that could have completely changed his life. But every time he tried to work on it in the evenings, his wife would start a fight. You love that computer more than me. We never spend time together. You're so selfish. Eventually he gave up. He sold his equipment, let the domain expire. 5 years later, someone else launched the exact same idea and sold it for millions. He saw the news and just sat there, dead inside, realizing what he had given up just to keep her happy. And was she happy? Of course not. She simply found new things to complain about. And then there's energy. Let's talk about energy. The mental and emotional energy you expend every single day just managing this relationship. Walking on eggshells, trying to predict her moods, attempting to decode what she really means versus what she actually says. You're like a computer running 1,000 programs in the background, all dedicated to avoiding conflict, preventing explosions, maintaining peace. You wake up already tired because you spent the night analyzing why she seemed distant. You can't focus at work because you're worried about that one text she didn't respond to. You come home exhausted, not from your job, but from the emotional labor of constantly monitoring and managing someone else's feelings. Your energy, your life force is being drained, drop by drop. And you've normalized it so deeply that you don't even recognize how abnormal it really is. Here's what kills me. While you're depleting yourself, destroying yourself, she's thriving. She's posting on social media about living her best life with the resources you provide. She's telling her friends how independent she is while you're the one paying her bills. She's complaining about how men aren't what they used to be while you're literally killing yourself to meet her standards. And what about your health? Your physical and mental health is collapsing. When was the last time you went to the gym consistently? When was the last time you ate properly, instead of grabbing whatever was quick because you had to rush to meet her needs? When was the last time you slept peacefully, without anxiety about the relationship? You're gaining weight or losing muscle. Your testosterone is dropping from chronic stress. Your blood pressure is rising. Your hair is thinning or graying before its time. Your body is breaking down because you've abandoned self-care in favor of her care. You used to be strong, vital, full of life. Now you're a shadow running on empty, aging before your time. And the statistics don't lie. Married men in certain cultures live shorter lives than unmarried men. Think about that. The very institution that's supposed to support you, supposed to be your partnership, is literally killing you faster. And yet we're told this is normal. This is love. This is what commitment looks like. No, this is what exploitation looks like. This is what slow murder looks like. Mentally, you're anxious, depressed, but you can't even admit it because real men don't have mental health issues. So you suffer in silence while she uses every emotional manipulation tool in her arsenal. The guilt trips when you try to set boundaries, the tears when you express your needs, the anger when you don't immediately comply, the silent treatment when you dare to prioritize yourself. She knows exactly which buttons to push because she installed them. Over months or years, she has programmed you to respond to her emotional cues like a trained dog. When she's unhappy, you jump. When she's disappointed, you scramble. When she threatens to leave, you beg. You've become a slave to her emotions. And the sickest part is, you actually believe this is love. Let me tell you about another man I knew from college. A brilliant engineer with patents to his name, headed for greatness. He met a woman who seemed perfect, beautiful, charming, saying all the right things. Within 2 years, he was unrecognizable. She had convinced him that his career ambitions were selfish, that working on his inventions instead of spending every free moment with her was neglecting the relationship. He stopped working on his projects. He stopped meeting with his mentor. He even turned down a position at a startup because she said it would take too much time away from us. But there was no us. There was her needs and his servitude. She was busy building her Instagram influencer career with his money, while he was silently dying inside, watching his own dreams evaporate day by day. When I tried to talk to him about it, he defended her without hesitation. "You don't understand love," he said. "Relationships require sacrifice. But whose sacrifice are we really talking about? It's always your sacrifice, isn't it? When did she last give up something significant for you? When did she ever put your dreams above her own comfort? When did she work extra hours so that you could chase something meaningful? The sacrifice only flows in one direction, and you've been conditioned to believe that makes you noble. Let me tell you what's truly happening here. You've shut off critical thinking in this relationship. You've turned off your brain, your logic, your ability to objectively assess reality. You've chosen to believe her words instead of observing her actions. She says she loves you, yet treats you like a resource. She says she appreciates you, yet demands more and more. She says she needs you, yet offers nothing real in return. If this was a business deal, you would have walked away long ago. If a friend treated you this way, you'd cut them off. If an employer demanded this much with so little return, you'd quit instantly. But because it's wrapped in the label of love and relationship, you accept treatment you'd never tolerate anywhere else. You're making emotional decisions instead of rational ones. You're over-investing in someone who sees you as an option, not a priority. You're pouring water into a bottomless bucket, wondering why you're still thirsty. You've abandoned critical thinking because society drilled into you that questioning a woman's behavior makes you controlling, insecure, or toxic. But here's the truth no one wants to say. She's using you. Maybe not consciously, maybe not with calculated malice, but the outcome is identical. She's extracting your resources while carefully regulating how much she gives back, just enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to let you feel secure. She understands the economy of relationships far better than you, and she's playing the game while you don't even realize you're on the field. Think back to the early days when she was all attention, all affection, all desire. That was the hook, the investment phase. She showed you what was possible, gave you a taste of feeling valued, wanted, important. But once she had you fully committed, the equation shifted. Now you're the one endlessly investing, while she manages the returns, giving just enough to stop you from leaving, but never enough to satisfy you. This is psychological manipulation at its sharpest. It's the intermittent reinforcement that breeds addiction. Sometimes she's loving, sometimes cold. Sometimes she shows appreciation, other times nothing you do will ever be enough. You never know which version you'll get, so you keep trying harder, giving more, chasing those early days when you felt like a king. But those days are gone, brother. They were the bait. What you're trapped in now is the cage. And every day you stay, every resource you give, every piece of yourself you sacrifice, you're fueling a system that sees you not as a man, but as a utility. The testing never ends. She'll push your boundaries to see how much you'll tolerate. She'll stir up drama just to test if you'll stay. She'll withdraw affection to see if you'll chase. She'll threaten to leave just to see if you'll beg. And every time you react emotionally, every time you give in, you fail the test and lose more of her respect. It's a twisted game where the rules keep changing and you're always playing from behind. She demands loyalty while keeping her own options open. She demands transparency while guarding her secrets. She demands investment while keeping one foot out the door. This imbalance isn't accidental, it's the design. And here's the darker truth. This isn't just personal, it's societal. We've built a system where men are disposable, where your worth is measured only by your utility, where the second you can't provide at the same level, you're discarded like a broken tool. The statistics don't lie. In divorces, men lose their homes, their children, their financial stability. They're left with nothing but debt, empty hands, and the haunting memories of everything they built for someone else. You know what the solution is? You know exactly what you need to do, but you're terrified of actually doing it. You need to reclaim your autonomy. You need to remember that you're a man with inherent value, not a slave whose worth is determined only by what you can provide. You need to start making decisions based on logic, not emotion. Based on self-respect, not fear of loss. Start first with your career. Stop working endlessly to fund her lifestyle, and instead start working to build your own empire. Every single hour you work should be an investment in your future, not a donation to hers. Focus on skill building, on climbing the ladder, on creating something that belongs to you alone, something that cannot be taken from you in a divorce. Your physical fitness is non-negotiable. Get back in the gym, not to look good for her approval, but to feel powerful for yourself. To build strength that no one can ever strip away. To create discipline that flows into every other area of your life. When you are physically strong, you are mentally stronger. When you look in the mirror and see a warrior, you stop tolerating being treated like a servant. Next, knowledge acquisition. Start learning again. Study psychology, philosophy, business, whatever expands your mind and broadens your options. The more you understand human nature, manipulation tactics, and relationship dynamics, the less vulnerable you become to emotional exploitation. Knowledge is power, and right now you're powerless only because you're unaware of the game being played around you. Then comes boundaries. Set real boundaries, not suggestions, not requests, but hard, non-negotiable lines that cannot be crossed. Your time belongs to you. Your money belongs to you. Your energy is yours to direct. And when she tests these boundaries, and she absolutely will, you hold firm, not with anger, not with shouting, but with calm certainty that you will not live enslaved. Learn to validate yourself instead of constantly seeking her approval. Every time you look to her for permission, for validation, for confirmation that you're a good man, you give away your power. You make your identity dependent on her fluctuating emotional state. Break this addiction. Your worth comes from within, from your actions, from your integrity, not from her inconsistent opinions. Understand the real dynamics at play. Women are naturally attracted to strength, to independence, to leadership. But once they have you, once you're committed, there's a tendency to test, to push, to see how much they can extract. It's not necessarily evil, it's nature. But just because it's natural doesn't mean you have to accept it. The formula for maintaining attraction while still protecting yourself is simple, but requires discipline. You must remain the man she was originally drawn to, not transform into the servant she can exploit. That means maintaining your independence even inside a relationship. Having your own goals that don't revolve around her. Being willing to walk away if your basic standards aren't met. She needs to know, not through words, but through actions, that you choose to be with her, not that you need to be with her. That your resources are shared by choice, not by obligation. That your time and energy are gifts, not entitlements. When she truly understands this, when she sees that you have real options and firm boundaries, the entire dynamic shifts. But here's what most men don't realize. Many women will leave once you reclaim your autonomy. When you stop being a slave, when you demand equal investment, when you refuse to be drained, they'll go find someone else willing to play that role. And you know what? Let them go. A woman who only wants you for what you can provide is not a woman worth having. The fear of being alone is what keeps you enslaved. The terror of starting over is what keeps you accepting unacceptable treatment. But here's the truth. Being alone with your dignity intact is infinitely better than being together as a slave. Being single with your resources, your time, your energy directed toward your own growth is far better than being drained in a relationship that is slowly killing you. I've seen men waste decades of their lives in this slavery. They wake up at 50 broken, exhausted, with nothing to show for their sacrifices except an entitled partner who still demands more. They've spent their strength funding everyone else's dreams while abandoning their own. They've built comfortable lives for others while living in emotional poverty themselves. And by the end, they realize too late, the disposability risk was always real. Once you're no longer useful, once you can't provide at the same level, once you're too exhausted to maintain the performance, you're discarded. She will find a story to justify it. She'll say you've grown apart. She'll say you're different people now. She'll say she needs to find herself. But the truth is simpler. You're no longer a valuable resource, so you're being replaced. I've seen it happen again and again. A man sacrifices his best years, his health, his dreams, to build a life with someone. Then when he needs support, when he stumbles, when he can't maintain the same level of provision, suddenly she's unhappy. Suddenly the relationship isn't working. Suddenly she needs space. And before he knows it, he's alone, broken with nothing to show for decades of sacrifice. The modern relationship formula is broken. It's built on male sacrifice and female consumption. It's built on men proving their worth through provision, while women's worth is simply assumed. It's built on the lie that male value equals utility, while female value equals existence. And until men wake up to this reality, until they refuse to participate in this exploitation, nothing will change. Remember this: every resource you give away is gone forever. Every moment you spend in servitude is a moment stolen from your potential. Every sacrifice you make for someone who would never sacrifice for you is a betrayal of yourself. You're not a utility. You're not a resource to be mined. You're not a slave to be worked until you break. Don't be that man. Don't wait until you're too broken to rebuild. Don't sacrifice your prime years on an altar of someone else's happiness. You're not a slave. You're not a resource to be extracted. You're not a utility to be used until you break down. You're a man with one life, limited time, finite energy. Every resource you give away is gone forever. Every year you spend enslaved is a year you'll never get back. Every piece of yourself you sacrifice for someone who doesn't reciprocate is a piece that's lost forever. The change starts now, today, this moment, not with grand gestures or dramatic confrontations, but with a simple shift in mindset. You're not a slave. Say it, believe it, live it. Start making decisions that reflect this truth. Start valuing yourself the way you've been taught to value others. When she demands, you evaluate. When she manipulates, you recognize. When she extracts, you protect. Not with hostility, but with the calm confidence of a man who knows his worth and refuses to be diminished. This isn't about becoming selfish or cruel. It's about becoming balanced. It's about ensuring that what you give is matched by what you receive. It's about transforming from a slave into a sovereign man. The relationship dynamic will change when you change. Either it will evolve into something mutual and respectful, or it will end. Either outcome is better than slavery. Either path leads to freedom. The only losing move is to continue accepting exploitation while calling it love. Men are not slaves. You're not a slave. The moment you truly understand this, truly embody this, truly live this truth, everything changes. Your energy returns. Your health improves. Your resources grow. Your dignity is restored. You become the man you were meant to be, not the utility you've been programmed to accept being. This is your wake-up call. This is your moment of choice. Continue bleeding out your life force for someone who sees you as a resource, or reclaim your autonomy and build a life where you're valued for who you are, not just for what you provide. The choice is yours, but remember, every day you delay this choice, every day you continue accepting slavery, is a day of your life you'll never get back. And one day, when it's too late, when you're too broken, when all your resources are depleted, you'll wish you had heard this message sooner. Don't wait for that day. Don't wait for rock bottom. Don't wait for her to discard you once you're no longer useful. Take control now. Reclaim your life now. Remember that you're not a slave now, because men are not slaves, and neither are you.